Welcome to another edition of From Beyond Champaign. I'm Cody. You can follow me on all the social media platforms at Cody_CHGO. Illinois, four straight wins. Mizzou, Chicago State, Oregon, and now Washington to sum up or to wrap up their Pacific Northwest road trip. I don't know why I blanked there for a second, but yes, it's been a long day. Illinois won four straight, and they just swept their Pacific Northwest road trip. 81-77, the final score. As you probably know by now, I'm a little late on this one today, but huge sports day. Imagine watching that Bears win and then watching this Illini win. I mean, we used to dream of times like this. I mean, I say that a lot on here about Illinois, but I mean, it was 2,212 days since the Bears had beat the Packers, and not only did the Bears beat the Packers today, but Illinois won. So I was like, man, we'll take it. We dream of times like this. You know what I mean? Wow. Take a sip of water. Still got that cold. So we got a handful of new subscribers from the last show. Thank you for all the support on the last show. Most engagement on a video of mine in a while. So feel free to hit that like button, subscribe. We're going to break down this game a little bit, talk about what's coming up and how we're feeling on this game and how we're feeling about the team heading into what I think is what I say, it's a critical week. I mean, it feels like every week is critical if we're going to be serious about winning the Big Ten, but it's a week that you should do well. In the middle to late part of the month, you got some really solid opponents like Indiana and Michigan State. You got Northwestern again. You got to go to Nebraska. Maryland's always tough. So do I think these next two games are crucial? I would say so. But we'll talk more about that later in the show. But let's just start with overall reactions from this game. So this one's a weird one because it was another one of those games where Illinois led early. The Illini led early. They were up by as much as 17, and they were up by 11 at halftime. They weren't shooting the ball well, but they were doing whatever they wanted on offense in terms of getting to the basket, right? They were doing whatever they wanted, and Washington couldn't make a shot in that first half. I mean, it was like 27-10 with under 10 to go at one point, I believe, in that first half. And yeah, I mean, it didn't really start doing much for Washington until DJ Davis got hot there in the second half because Illinois just decided that they didn't want to guard him hard enough at the 3-point line. And he was coming off screens or coming off his own pick and roll screens and just shooting and wide open threes, right? But yeah, I mean, Illinois shot 5 for 26 from 3 for the game. And for a while, it felt like it didn't matter that they didn't shoot well. Because they were just doing whatever they wanted in the paint. For the game, they shot 47%. Washington shot 43%. Curious what Washington was shooting before half. Like it was, they could not buy a shot for 1 point in this game. So I want to give Illinois a lot of credit defensively in the first half. But it could have been worse. And I think they missed out on an opportunity to really step on their throats. I would say that's probably the biggest disappointment from this game is you felt like they should have stepped on their throats when they had them. And Illinois just couldn't do it. Again, up by as much as 17, was 11 at halftime. And then for the first 10 minutes out of the half, it ranged anywhere from 13 to 10. Sometimes you'd get to, they'd get to 9, 8 points, and then Illinois would respond with a big 3 or something. They would respond back with like a 4 or 6-0 run, something like that. But it would just range around that area, that range. And then Washington went on a run there, probably around the 6-7 minute mark of the second half. And, we got to 2 minutes to go in the second half, and Washington cut it to 6. And it reminded, I was getting Northwestern vibes. Illinois was up by 5 with 2 minutes to go against Northwestern in Evanston. And they were up by 6 with 2 minutes to go against Washington. And you just felt like the momentum was shifting. And it did. And it got so bad to where they tied the game. And that inbounds pass from Trey White to Kasparas that did not go to Kasparas, that led to a layup, a fast break layup to tie the game, I believe. I really thought for, 20 seconds, maybe 20 to 30 seconds, I really thought we were going to lose the game. I was like, we led by 17, we led by 11 at halftime. We're about to lose this game. After I saw Trey White commit such a bad turnover. But Kasparas showed up when you needed him most, man. Kasparas showed up when you needed him most there in that final minute. If you look at that final minute, we can play it out here real quick, right? Trey White had that turnover with 50 seconds. They were inbounding the ball with 52 seconds. He turned it over on the inbounds pass, and they tied it at 75 with 47 seconds to go. And then Kasparas came down and got that layup that the Illini basketball Twitter account has already tweeted out. And it was the moment of the game for Illinois in terms of why they won this game. Because if Illinois comes down and they don't score, then I really do think that Washington is going to win the game, because all of the momentum would be gone. And Kasparas legitimately saved you in the final seconds. He saved you. But I think we can say two things are true. Kasparas saved you, but also you probably should have won by double-digit points. This is the third or fourth game of the season where I feel like I find myself saying that. Are my expectations too high, or is Illinois just blowing leads? You know what I mean? A win is a win, and winning on the road in the Big Ten is hard, right? Like, you want to, let's use Tuesday's opponent, Penn State. They beat Purdue. Purdue went to Penn State and lost Purdue went to Penn State and lost there last month, right? The same Washington team just beat Maryland. So I think we should also give Washington some credit. Maybe they're not as bad as what some people probably think. I don't even know what their KenPom ranking is as I sit here and talk about this. I don't know how I should really feel after this game. Let me know how you feel about this game and how you're feeling going into this week. Illinois has Penn State and USC coming up. They're both games that are winnable. They're both games that, if you want to win the Big Ten, in my opinion, you need to win. I'm trying to think of how I want to keep going here. It's a nice win. To win both of these games out on the Pacific Northwest coast, whatever you want to call it. It's huge. I really didn't think they were going to beat Oregon, and then they beat Oregon the way they did. And I knew that this spot coming into on Sunday in what was technically a noon game for them, it was 3:00 here, but it was technically a noon game for them. And in my history of watching Illinois play these Sunday noon games or 11 a.m. games, they can get a little dicey at times. All I can say is that you take your road wins wherever you can get them. I think there was a lot of good that came from this game. Kasparas once again showed that he's not just a scorer. The first half, he had like 5 or 6 assists, and all of those passes to guys that scored were awesome. They were incredible plays, and he displayed why he's more than just a scorer and why he's an all-around point guard. That lead pass to Merez Johnson on the fast break in the first half was just one of them, right? That pass to Kylan Boswell, like right next to the hoop with him all the way already in the air. It's kind of hard to describe it, but they were basically right by the basket, but just like, that look to him there was nice, right? He had a lot of great looks to rack up the assist totals today. And then he scored the basketball when they needed him to. In the first half, even when Washington kind of went on a little bit of a run, remember they were up by 17 and Washington cut it back down to single digits before halftime. And Kasparas, I think out of a timeout, hit 2 consecutive three-pointers. And one of those three-pointers, the second one, just off the dribble, step back 3 on the left side of the left wing. It was just like eye-opening, like I can't believe what I'm watching type stuff. Yeah, he is only increasing his draft stock. That's all he is doing. What else can I say? But that's one good thing I can take away from this for sure, that he is continuing to grow. I feel like we're even seeing improvements from him every game too. I didn't feel like he was turning the ball over a ton. I don't even know how many he had off the top of my head. I'm looking right now. He only had 3 turnovers for the day. So, we've seen him have worse days, that's for sure. But 18 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. You take that, right? And he hit the game-winning shot, technically. I mean, it wasn't technically the game-winning shot, but it was a critical shot that led to the win. So that's one good thing. Trey White continues to play well. I've been giving him his flowers since the game against Wisconsin. 17 points, 7 rebounds again. The turnover in the final seconds was awful, no doubt. The turnover was awful, and you just can't do that. And when you get into February and you get into March, plays like that will lead to losses. No doubt. No doubt. That was a boneheaded play. There was miscommunication or something there. I have to go back and watch it, but that was awful. And coming out of the timeout, by the way, this was coming out of an Illinois timeout. That was probably the one bad play from him in that game. He was a big reason why they led early and why they had a big lead in general and should have won by double digits. Yeah. I thought Kylan Boswell had a better second half. His first half was pretty quiet. He had 2 early quick fouls, but he was able to contribute in the second half. Not only from the 3-point line, he made that crazy 3-point shot that he got fouled on, but he got to the basket. He had a couple nice cuts. There was a Ivicic pass from the top of the key to him after a dribble handoff, and that was a nice layup. So your 2 of your 3 guys that you need to be good showed up. To me, Trey White is kind of like a X factor type player, but he has been playing well, so I'm just going to keep riding that high. Ben Humrickhouse, he didn't shoot well tonight. 2 of 9 from the field and 1 of 5 from 3, but I did feel like he did a lot of what he did against Oregon. And there were a few times he did a couple post-ups. He went to the free throw line, knocked down 2 free throws, had 6 rebounds, so he got active on the boards. He had 2 steals, he had a block. Like, I felt like his defense was there. You just saw more activity out of him. So even though he didn't shoot the ball well, he still gave you something. So this is what I'm asking for. In the last show, I said, should I ask for anything from 8 to 12 points from him every night? He gave us 7 tonight and was active on rebounding and on defense. I'll take it. I don't feel like there was any massive problems from him in this game. Off the bench, DGL was another spark in the first half. He finishes with 8 points. And he had a couple drives to the basket that you can see the confidence just oozing out of him, right? So I think that's a development that I'm going to keep watching, and I hope we see it and it becomes a big consistent thing that we see. Because Will Riley, how many minutes? Will Riley only played 10 minutes tonight. And maybe he only played 10 minutes because DGL had such a great game, right? But even still, you know, whether it's Brad not being confident in him right now or his confidence not being there, it's at the end of the day, he's not playing lights out right now. And I'm going to keep cheering him on, and I'm going to keep saying the next game is hopefully when he turns the corner. But they need, if he's not going to do it, they need someone off the bench to do it. And I felt like DGL did that. Morez Johnson, 4 points, 5 rebounds off the bench. You'll take that every night whenever he's coming off the bench. So, you know, you look at the box score, and the only bad thing in the box score, honestly, is the fact that they couldn't make a three. And this is a team that is going to shoot a lot of threes. 5 of 26. 5 for 26 from three. It makes you wonder, like, how are they going to win games when they don't shoot the three well? Well, they only turn it over 13 times. Now, if they shoot 5 of 26 and turn it over more than 15 times in a game, you're probably going to be in trouble. You just to put it simply, you're probably going to be in trouble. But because they dominate the boards, they had 43 rebounds tonight, and Washington had 30. They had 14 offensive rebounds. They dominate the rebounding game every single game. They're like a top 10 rebounding team in all of college basketball. There's a reason, even though they shoot a lot of threes, they're able to get more temps up still because they get the rebounds, the offensive boards, the big rebounds they need to get putbacks. It also helped that they were gotten to the bonus early in the second half. And they took a little bit of advantage of that. They did have some missed free throws, but overall 14 of 19 from the free throw line. So, you know, you look at this box score and you're like, I don't know how to really feel. And just based off how they won the game, it's like, how do I feel about this one? To me, this is one where you just chalk up the W, you put a nice green check on it, and you move on. Because this is a gauntlet schedule, man. This is a gauntlet schedule. This Big Ten conference, I don't think there's going to be any easy opponents. I don't think there is. What happened against Oregon was awesome, especially on the road. You broke a record for largest margin of victory against a team. Sure, this was a prime letdown spot. Like, this is college athletics, and this is a young team. What did you expect? I was hoping that they'd come out and steamroll Washington too, just to maybe give me a little bit more confidence that they were ready to take off and go win this conference. And they still can. They won today, right? But I still think we're going through some growing pains. We're still going through some growing pains. And this team, as great as it was against Oregon, it's not there yet. It's not there yet. And sure, against Oregon, they shot 16 of 29 from three. And that's a big part of why they won. So, sure, I think when this team is hitting three-point shots like that, I don't think anyone in college basketball is going to beat them. But if they can shoot above 30% from three, limit turnovers, and shoot over 70% from the free throw line, then I think they can be in a game and beat anyone in the country. I legitimately think that. That's the kind of ceiling this team has, in my opinion. And the reason they won tonight, despite the fact that they only shot 5 of 26 from the three-point line, only 13 turnovers for the game, you dominated the boards, and you shot 14 of 19 from the free throw line. So you were able to still get to the basket. You got extra shot attempts with your 14 offensive boards, and you have one of the best players in the country playing point guard. We're in a very good spot. There are a lot of fans who like other schools that would love to be in Illinois spot right now. Absolutely. So that's what I'm taking away from it. And we'll see how Tuesday plays back home at State Farm. Big Ten game. First, Wisconsin came in December, right? So second home conference game against a Penn State team coming off a bad loss to Indiana. One of Indiana's key players was out today, and they came out in the second half today against the Hoosiers and were terrible. So that's a confidence boost for Indiana. Maybe I should stop talking shit for a little bit about them. I still don't believe in them, but yeah, I thought Penn State was going to win today, especially at home. And now they're coming off a loss at home and have to go on the road and play Illinois. I think they're going to be motivated. And as we know, every time Illinois plays Penn State, it's a dogfight, and it's never easy. Last year at Penn State in that like high school gym, they should have won that game, and they absolutely choked it away in the final minutes, right? Complete different team, we know. But I'm just saying, like, it's not going to be a cakewalk. I promise you. And if it is, then I'll thank them for not stressing me out. So before we move on, let's go to the chat. We don't have a ton of chats here, but let's go through them real quick. Jason says, the only issue I think we have is we need to get Big T and Will Riley going up the bar. Yeah. Tomislav, I haven't mentioned him yet. Tomislav, 9 points, 9 rebounds tonight. He did hit a 3, only 1 of 4 from the 3-point line, though. I did not like that 3-pointer he chucked up there in the final minutes of the game. It was open. It's not like it was a bad shot. I just felt like because the team wasn't making threes, that maybe you can get a better shot, especially at that point in the game. But I digress. He has kind of, I wouldn't say he's gone to he's definitely not gone to the levels of like where Will Riley has gone, but he has faded a little bit here in the last handful of games. But he's still active on the boards, and he had 2 offensive rebounds tonight. He had a put back on an offensive rebound, specifically at a crucial moment there in the second half. So I still think he's playing well. He's still playing hard. He's still giving you what you need him to give you. He gives you floor spacing, especially with the 3-point game. Would I like him to shoot less threes? And he only shot 4 tonight, but I think this is why a lot of people would like to see Merez get in there so he can play the 4 and see what happens there. But with how they want to play, I understand why he's not. And if Humrickhouse continues to play like he has the last 2 games, I'm fine with it. Okay. And Will Riley, like I said, it's tough right now. Jason says, I think we need to run some plays for both those guys to get them feeling comfortable. Oh, okay. Related to those 2. Yeah, I mean, it feels like they don't go to Tomislav a lot in the post. They'll do the high screen roll with him and give him that pick and pop, or he'll screen, or he'll go to the basket, right? But other than that, you're not seeing a lot. But I think early in the game, if the matchup proceeds is favorable, like, yeah, I wouldn't mind them going to him in the post, like early, or like maybe coming out of halftime, depending on what kind of game he's having. But yeah, just, he shot it 10 times tonight and only made 4 shots. Didn't go to the free throw line at all. I mean, he's your big. He's gonna be getting hit down there in the paint. You need him to go to the free throw line at least a few times a game, right? So, VSP, Cody, this is King. Are you going live on TikTok to talk Cubs? I perhaps will be live on TikTok after I'm done doing this, perhaps for like maybe an hour. We'll see. If y'all want to come hang out with me and just chat about all of Chicago sports and Illinois, You're more than welcome to come hang out. Fighting Illini 23, huge improvement compared to the Northwestern game. Very similar scenarios. Yeah. Outside of that Trey White inbounds pass, yes, I do feel like they at least got shots that were open. And they didn't turn the ball over outside of that Trey White turnover. And I thought that they answered adversity well, and that's largely just because of KJ, because he's a dog. Cam, Big Ten road games are going to look more like Washington than Oregon. That's for damn sure. And I in general, I agree. It's just frustrating when you lead by double-digit points at halftime and you almost lose the game in the final seconds, right? I think two things can be true. What Cam is saying here, Big Ten road games are going to look more like Washington than Oregon. Like, yeah, you're right. When they have to go to Indiana, it's going to be tough. As much as I don't think Indiana's good, it's still going to be tough to go into the Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana, and try and win that game. I can name more games. Going to Evanston even and trying to beat that Northwestern team. It's tough, right? But at the same time, when you lead by double digits at halftime, when you lead by as much as 17, it makes you very cautious and makes you very frustrated, because it's like, we've seen this before. When is this going to stop? And when it does stop, that's when I think that this team is ready. When this team is ready to really go on a run. Z Paulson, when does Illinois fall apart this year? Like always. What do you mean? They went to the Elite Eight last year, brother. All right. He also says Northwestern is cheeks. Did you see them today? I did see them today against Purdue at Purdue. It's really hard to go to Purdue and win. Would I say Northwestern is cheeks? No, I would not say Northwestern is cheeks. And I think any logical Big Ten fan or Big Ten basketball fan would say that. Okay. Now, moving forward, they have Penn State on Tuesday, and they have USC next Saturday. All right. Penn State's 12-3, and USC is 9-5. USC is not good, in my opinion. USC is not good, in my opinion, and they're going to be in the situation that Illinois was in this week, where they have to travel all the way across the country to face the Illini at a very, let's say by then, I would hope a very hostile State Farm Center. Mid-January, like all the students should be back. I don't know what was going on with these crowds at Oregon and Washington. I really don't. I really don't. I guess I understand it more so at Washington, but at Oregon, I didn't understand. I thought that was a marquee game. It was probably the most intriguing college basketball game of that entire day, and that crowd sucked. But anyway, I think that if they can beat Penn State, I think they roll against USC. All right. Not last show, but the show before, I predicted that Illinois would go 7-2 in January. They were on pace to go 9-0 at this point. We'll see. I think that if they can win their next two and improve to 5-1 in the Big Ten, they'll have a shot. But the middle of this month, Indiana, Michigan State, Maryland, Northwestern, and Nebraska are not going to be easy. Nebraska just beat UCLA on Saturday at home. It's going to be tough. Going to be tough to go to Nebraska and win there, right? I hope for revenge against Northwestern. Maryland on the road, not very good, but it's something about Maryland every year. Something about Maryland every year. Michigan State, really solid, ranked team. Tom Izzo, going to be defensive-minded game probably. The refs are probably going to dictate it. It's at Michigan State on a Sunday at 11 a.m. It just smells like Sunday scaries. It really does. But hopefully a good game. Hopefully. Illinois is certainly more talented than that Michigan State team, in my opinion. So the good news is I think that all of these games are winnable, and I will lean to believe that Illinois will be favored in majority of them. But I bring all these games up because I think that's why it's crucial for them to win these next two at home. If they're going to win this conference, they got to win their home games. And I would like revenge after watching what I watched them do at Penn State last year. Okay. So give me Illinois to win their next two and improve to 5-1 in the Big Ten. And then we'll see what happens. You got 5 games left in January after that. Got to go to Indiana. Got to go to Michigan State. It's going to be tough games. Going to be tough. All right. What else? We're about 30 minutes in. I don't know. This game, it is what it is. It was fun. It was frustrating. And I'm just glad they won, because if they had lost, I would have been very angry because they led by 17 at one point. They're 2-1 on the road in conference. They've played in road environments. They've played in big games in non-conference to help build themselves up in terms of not only their tournament resume, but I guess prepare themselves for all these tough environments they're going to eventually play in too. So yeah, man, this team's just got to keep growing. They're not there yet. Last show, I talked a little bit about Will Riley being a concern of mine right now. Today, he barely plays. Is it because DGL was playing well? Is it because Trey White was playing well? Right? I don't know. But I do think that this team will be ready when they start closing out games without giving me a heart attack, and when Will Riley finds some consistency and their starting 5 is playing like their starting 5 is playing right now. Maybe if you can get a little bit more out of Isevich, sure. But if you get what you've gotten out of Humrikas the last 2 days in terms of how he's playing, you're getting anything close to what Trey White's been doing, and you're getting the consistency from KJ and Kylan and Isevich for the most part, you got a really solid starting 5 that can go out there and hang with anyone in this conference. That's what I genuinely believe right now as we sit here and watch this team. I get there probably some frustration within the fan base right now, but I also think, and I probably haven't said this enough, we should probably honestly give Washington a little bit more credit. We should. They were at home, and they did just beat Maryland the other night. And I think Maryland is a solid team. I think they're solid. Okay. In the non-conference, let's see. Who'd they beat in the non-conference? The non-conference isn't that impressive, to be honest with you. Santa Clara. It's Colorado State. Maybe. I don't know. Washington State, I guess. Yeah, not really that impressive, but all I know is that this team, as in Illinois, they definitely did some things that led to them getting back in the game. But if they don't shoot 5 for 26 from 3, I think this game is more so like a 12-point win than anything else. But I think because they couldn't make any threes is why Washington stayed in this game, and DJ Davis got hot. I think maybe I should just give a lot of credit to DJ Davis. Some of those threes that he made, it's like, damn, the guy can't miss. Sometimes you just got to give credit where credit is due. I thought they didn't guard him great for a majority of the second half until the very last minute or two. So they guarded him good when they absolutely had to, I guess. But they got to get better on those, they're going to play drop coverage. You just can't give a guy a wide open 3 like they did to him. They got to figure that out. I don't know. So, yeah, I don't really have much else on this game, guys. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be at the Penn State game on Tuesday. So if you're headed to that game, send me a DM on Twitter or Instagram or something like that, or And let me know if you want to meet up at the game or something and say hello. I'm more than happy to do that. Went to the game in Wisconsin, or not at Wisconsin, but against Wisconsin, and they won. So I'm 1-0 on the year, looking to move to 2-0. And I'm looking for revenge because I still have not forgot about that loss against Penn State. The very, 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 very frustrating loss against Penn State last year. Honestly, a lot of that was on Coleman Hawkins, but we all know. I'm trying to think anything else related to the Big Ten from this weekend that I want to point out. Again, I mentioned Indiana earlier. It was an impressive win on the road, despite one of their more important players being out today. I feel like maybe they've kind of answered the call since Ballo, I guess, was seen at the bar or whatever, and he got suspended for a game. They've kind of responded since that game. They've won their last two. Like I mentioned, Nebraska beating UCLA on Saturday. Michigan continues to kind of be a little bit of it's a wait and see for me, but I definitely think they're better than last year. That's for sure. Ohio State's starting to fade a little bit. I thought they were going to win at home against Michigan State on Friday. That didn't happen. Iowa is still Iowa. They still suck. And they give up a ton of points. They let Wisconsin score 116 on them on Friday. Yeah, and Purdue is Purdue still. Purdue is Purdue. I look forward. It won't be until March, but man, I look forward to KJ versus Braden Smith. Last home game of the year at the State Farm Center. That's going to be fun, man. That's going to be fun. Yeah. Big games tomorrow. We got Rutgers and Wisconsin. That'll be fun. Wisconsin at Rutgers, and then Ohio State looking to bounce back against Minnesota. They're Minnesota. I don't really know what to say, but I look for Ohio State to bounce back at Minnesota tomorrow. But I kind of like Rutgers tomorrow against Wisconsin. We'll see. But yeah, I believe or Penn State and Illinois is on Wednesday, not Tuesday. My bad. But yeah, Tuesday we got Nebraska at Iowa and then Michigan at UCLA. So that Michigan and UCLA game will be intriguing, especially UCLA coming off the Nebraska loss. So we'll see how Nebraska does on the road against an Iowa team that I think isn't very good. And then, yeah, Wednesday, USC at Indiana and Penn State and Illinois. So, yeah, looking forward. We got some good games this week. Big Ten plays finally here. We're deep in the weeds. Got to win these 2 home games this week. If we want to win the conference, they need to win these 2 home games. Just the bottom line, in my opinion. All right. That's it. I'm done yapping. I will go live on my TikTok for probably about an hour after I end this. But if y'all want to come hang out and chat some more, I'll see you over there. But I appreciate y'all's support. Hit that like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new here. Tell a friend. Doing Illinois content over here all the time, and Chicago sports stuff as well. So I appreciate y'all's support. I'll see y'all. We'll probably won't do a show on Wednesday since I'll be at the game, but probably Thursday be the next time I'll be live on here. So yeah, until then, Illinois wins 81-77. A win's a win. A win is a win, guys. That's what I'm taking away. All right. Till Thursday. ILL.